Thank you very much to Finn and Naren for becoming new members of the Kinetic Rugby League channel, and thank you to Flo Lacey for rejoining as a member of the channel as well, and thank you to all members for being part of this great community. Let's get on with the video. So to recap last round's predictions, I got 6 out of 7 with the wins and 0 out of 7 with the margins. Pretty happy with that overall. You know, it's the wins that I mainly want to get. Margins are difficult. Couldn't get one to save my life last week, even though I tried to give as much reason as possible as to why those margins would be what I thought they were going to be. But anyway, I'm okay with 6 out of 7. It improves the overall percentage on the season. But as always, let me know your predictions in the comment section down below. But let's get on with the first game of this week. Kicking things off this week, we have the Dolphins versus the Cowboys. Start with form. The Dolphins have won 3 in their last 5. The Cowboys have only won 1 in their last 5. Now, the Dolphins just put in their worst attacking display of the last few weeks. The Cowboys just put in their best defensive display of the last few weeks. Now, however, these sides have already met, and the Dolphins destroyed the Cowboys 58-4 back in round 15, so it wasn't even that long ago. Now, based on stats this season, the Dolphins have a significantly better attack and defence, which of course showed in their previous meeting, but not in both sides' previous games. Now, Hamiso Tabai-Fidau didn't end up playing last week. He was originally in the squad, but he didn't end up playing, but will be back in this round. So I instantly have more confidence in the Dolphins' attack looking better this week. With another week of Sean O'Sullivan starting in the halves as well, there's then more time to build on the combinations there. Now for the Cowboys, they have Jackson Purdue playing at 6 alongside Tom Dearden. I'm not sure if Purdue is better suited at centre or 5/8. You guys let me know your thoughts on that one. And is Jake Clifford a big enough miss as of right now? I'm not too sure yet on who might be the best halves partner there for Tom Dearden. Now, I do think the Cowboys look bigger in the pack this week too. Molo and Tawa, please let me know if I've pronounced that incorrectly, but they'll be up against McKaylee and Neem to start. Now, Lemuelu and Keeley have to match up against Nana and Cotter as well. The bench is fairly even for me, but I think Josh Kerr for the Dolphins, his impact will be huge when he comes on. But initially, I lean towards the Cowboys through the middle. Now, the Dolphins have scored 50 plus points in their last 2 games at Suncorp Stadium, but the Cowboys have won both of their matches against the Dolphins when played at Suncorp. However, the Cowboys have conceded 200 points in their last 6 games, which is an average of 33.3 points per game. And overall, aside from last round, I trust the Dolphins' attack to bounce back, but because of the Cowboys and the fact that they've kept their last 3 games in the 1-12 range, I think they can keep it close enough, especially with the Dolphins still playing without their usual back line. It's close enough, just not the exact same. And with the middles looking bigger for the Cowboys, over 80 minutes, they might be able to make it sort of a respectable range this time. And the Dolphins have been conceding 26 points per game on average in their last 3, which is quite a lot to concede, even though they're scoring so many. So for a prediction in this one, I'm going to go with the Dolphins to win 1-12 points. And for a try scorer, I'm going to go with Hamiso Tabai-Fidau. Next up, we have the Sharks versus the Roosters. Now, the Sharks have won 2 in their last 5. The Roosters have won 3 in their last 5. Both also met back in round 12, and the Roosters won 42-16. Now, the backs look pretty strong for both. Chad Townsend will partner Sam Walker in the halves for the Roosters. And in terms of experience and quality, that might be the best pairing that they've got available, even though Savala has been doing a decent job this year, I must admit. I really like this battle in the middle, though. To start, it's Fanua Blake and Kafusi versus White and Collins. I'm expecting big hits time and time again when those guys are on the field. Both sides also have their own talisman in the back row as well. The Sharks have Nikora, who can find a line break or 2 and maybe even walk in for a try inside the red zone. And the Roosters have Crichton, the offload machine. He can get multiple defenders involved and still find an offload. Now, as much as the Sharks were much improved defensively last time out, I'll use the same point as last week, even though it didn't really work out too well for me, did it? Which is that they've been conceding way too many points overall in recent weeks. The Sharks do have 1 more win over the Roosters this season, but they've also played 1 more game. They've conceded the exact same amount of points, but the Roosters have scored a few more, so slightly more. They've been very close this season, but in recent weeks, the Roosters have been winning more, scoring more, conceding less, by a solid margin as well. Now, according to stats, the Sharks have lost their last 4 games against top 8 opposition, and the Roosters have won 9 of their last 11 games against the Sharks. And finally, I think that partnership of Toya and Nwangani Tawaze is capable of producing a fair bit of magic and can get plenty of points. I think when those two are on together, they can make a lot of good stuff happen. So for a prediction in this game, I'm going to go with the Roosters to win 1 to 12 points. And for a try scorer, I'm going to go with Mark Nwangani-Tawaze. Next up, we have the Panthers versus Rabbitohs. Starting with form, the Panthers have won 5 in their last 5, whilst the Bunnies have lost 5 in their last 5. The Panthers will be without Yo, Tango and Cleary, so Brad Schneider will replace Cleary in the halves, and Isaiah Papali'i will replace Yo at lock. Now the Rabbitohs are missing Campbell Graham and Davy Moale, but Ewan Aitken, Latrell Mitchell, Peter Mamouzelos and Sean Kepi will all come back in. Now I think the Panthers backline is much higher in quality compared to that of the Rabbitohs. We're looking at Johnston, Tass, Duncan and Munro versus Jenkins, Alamotti, McLean and Toto. So even if the Panthers spine struggles without Cleary, I think the back line, in terms of most of the matchups there, can create opportunities by themselves. Now these sides did play back in round 4. The Rabbitohs took the win 28-18, but this time, I don't think the Bunnies are that different to what they were back then, compared to the Panthers, who were quite poor to start the season, and who were actually in last place just a few months ago, and now they're in the top 8 with the joint best form in the competition. Now I do think through the middle, the Rabbitohs have some decent guys, but I'm concerned that they'll get pinned back quite a lot here, and the Panthers will just keep building pressure on the Bunnies' goal line over the course of 80 minutes. But finally, the Panthers have won 12 of their last 15 games against the Rabbitohs. The Rabbitohs also haven't beaten the Panthers twice in a season since 2017, and the Panthers have won their last 4 games at CommBank Stadium. So for a prediction in this one, I'm going to go with the Panthers to win 13+, and for a try scorer, I'm going to go with Thomas Jenkins. Next up, we have the Raiders versus the Eels. The Raiders have won 5 in their last 5. The Eels have only won 1 in their last 5. Now in the lineups, the Raiders are very close to full strength, as they've got Hudson Young and Josh Papali'i back in this week. The only players missing that would make them stronger would be Tamale and Nicholson, I think. Now, meanwhile, the Eels are still without Mitchell Moses, so they have a spine of Iongi, Papali'i, Hawkins and Smith currently listed. Now, I'm okay with being shown up here, but I'm not really sure what that spine is going to be able to create here. Now, Dylan Brown is in the reserves at the moment, so we'll have to see what happens with him later in the week. If he ends up playing, I'm not too sure how much change that's going to make, but we'll have to see. Now, the Raiders also have the big 3 playing, which is Papali'i, Tarpany and Horsburgh, and they can take anyone on and win. So I'm not too worried about the Raiders up front. I expect a lot of offloads for Starling and a fair few post-contact meters to keep pushing the Eels back. The one concern for the Raiders recently is that games are starting to get quite close. Maybe they're conceding more than they'd like, but they're still keeping up their own points and getting the wins, which is the main thing. The Raiders have won their last 3 games against the Eels, and the Eels have only won 2 of their past 13 games at GIO Stadium, and the Raiders have won 7 out of the 8 home games they've had this season as well. Finally, I think Fogarty with his long-range kicking game will tire out those Eels middles. Strange and Weeks will find breaks from anywhere, and the last time these sides met back in round 6, the Raiders won 50-12, and I don't think too much has changed for either side since then. So for prediction, I'm going to go with the Raiders to win 13+, and for a try scorer, I'm going to go with Xavier Savage. Next up, we have the Bulldogs versus the Dragons. Now, the Bulldogs have won 3 in their last 5. The Dragons have only won 1 in their last 5. And these teams met all the way back in round 1. The Bulldogs won 28-20. But over the past few months or so, the Bulldogs haven't been at their best trying to accommodate Lachlan Galvin. There's been a few other changes in the lineup that they've had to make as well. This week, they have Burton and Galvin in the halves, with Sexton currently in the reserves. The Bulldogs' backline is also different to what they'd ideally like with no Bronson Cherry. They now have Kiraz, Tuwala, Crichton and Rinakama as the back 4. So in and out of possession, there may be less effectiveness than usual. Now the Dragons lineup looks fairly consistent in comparison, with plenty of regulars in the backs. They might be able to execute fairly well in possession this week. Typically, I trust the Dragons through the middle defensively. I don't think they allow too many cheap breaks. Teams really have to work for it, I think. Now, on their own goal line, they can be a tricky side to break down on their day. But in recent weeks, the Dragons have been conceding way too many points, which were 31, 28, 20, 30 and 56 in their last 5. While the Bulldogs have taken a dip, their defence has been much better, conceding just 8, 22, 8, 18 and 12 in their last 5, which isn't far off being a third of the points that the Dragons have conceded in the last 5 games. Now, the Bulldogs have won their last 4 games against the Dragons. St George hasn't won at a core stadium since 2019, and they've only won 2 from 8 away games this season. So for prediction in this one, I'm going to go with the Bulldogs to win 1 to 12 points. And for a try scorer, I'm going to go with Stephen Crichton. Next up, we have the Storm versus Seagulls. Starting with form, Storm have won 5 in their last 5. The Seagulls have won 3 in their last 5. These sides met back in round 5 as well, where the Storm won 48-24. Now this time round, Storm will be missing Pappenhausen, but Meany will fill in at fullback, who got plenty of game time there last season, but the backline being Bradley, Howarth, Anderson and Coates is a slight concern in terms of matchup because the Seagulls are bringing their best set of backs, which they've consistently had over the past few games, which has managed recent results of 28-10 and 30-12. Now the Seagulls are also bringing a big forward pack as well, with Lodge and Takiaho starting, taking on Utakamanu and King initially. Now over 80 minutes though, when the Storm bring Kamikamitha and Asafa Solomona onto the field, the Storm might start to get the better of Manly through the middle as time goes on. Now in terms of stats between these sides, the Storm have won their last 10 games at Amy Park, and the Seagulls haven't won in Melbourne since 2019. And because the Storm have Munster and Coates back in, along with Grant and Hughes being part of that side, I think they'll be able to find enough points. But I do think Manly will find a way to push Melbourne to the very end in this one, especially with DC's kicking, then the run game that Trebojevic, Hopewati and Brooks can offer. But I will just lean towards Storm. So for a prediction in this one, I'm going to go with the Storm to win 1-12 points. And for a try scorer, I'm going to go with Xavier Coates. Next up, we have the game of the round. The Tigers taking on the Titans. Both have won just 1 in their last 5 games. How exciting. The Tigers have won 2 more games compared to the Titans this season, and they're slightly better in terms of total points scored and conceded. In terms of lineups though, the Tigers could benefit having Taylor May in their side. He's been desperate to get back into the game, and now he's got that chance after being away for so long. I'm expecting some issues with connection, maybe fitness and pace of the game until he can adjust, but I'm also expecting a lot of energy and willingness to get stuck in from May this week. The Tigers are still without Jureen Bula, so Sonia Taruva continues to play at fullback where he's quite comfortable, whereas the Titans have been able to find some consistency in their spine, and they've been able to bring a lot of their best forwards to games over the past few weeks. Now, there are some head-to-head stats that do go in favour of the Titans, in that the Tigers haven't beaten the Titans back-to-back since 2012, and the Titans have won 5 of their last 6 games against the Tigers. But for a game like this, I don't really trust either side. I do trust Terrell May, getting plenty of offloads, creating second phases, and I trust Jerome Luai to do a lot of damage off the back of that and to create a lot of opportunities by himself, or at least begin a lot of great opportunities for the Tigers. And their backline, I think, looks slightly stronger compared to the Titans. I think they could just get the better of them over the course of 80 minutes, but honestly, I'm not confident in backing either team in this one. So for a prediction, I'm going to go with the Tigers to win 1-12 points, and for a try scorer, I'm going to go with Charlie Staines. Finally, for this round, we have the Knights versus the Warriors. In terms of form, the Knights have won 2 in their last 5. The Warriors have won 3 in their last 5. These sides met back in round 8, and the Warriors won 26-12. Now, I'm not sure how the Knights will get on with Dane Gagai playing at fullback. He's currently listed there with Fletcher Hunt in the centres. That might change later in the week or on game day, but we'll have to see. Now, the rest of the backs are at a decent strength and quality, which is a really good sign for Newcastle in this one. Now, the Warriors have been dealing with some major injuries, Luke Metcalf being one of them, but they'll be able to bring a strong group of backs with Taupiki at fullback, Capewell in the centres where he tends to shine actually, and then Harris Tavita and Boyd will get more game time and reps together in training and on the field, so that's huge for them. Now, there are also some really big forwards for both sides. You've got Saifiti and Thompson for Newcastle, they'll be starting, but the Warriors have Fisher Harris, Ford, Halasima, Niokore and Clark, and I trust the Warriors pack more to win the battle up front and possibly dominate this week as well. Now, Newcastle can be quite a slow and dull attacking side, but they have made some major improvements over the last few weeks in their attack. But for the Warriors, aside from a dip a few weeks ago, they've put up 36, 40 and 34 points in 3 of their last 5 games. Finally, the Knights have lost 7 of their last 8 games at McDonald Jones Stadium, and the Warriors have won 6 of 8 games in Australia this year, on top of the fact that they've won 3 of their last 4 games against the Knights. So for a prediction in this one, I'm going to go with the Warriors to win 1-12 points. And for a try scorer, I'm going to go with Roger Tuivasa-Sheck. So to recap my predictions for this round, I'm going to go with the Dolphins and Roosters 1-12, Panthers and Raiders 13+, and then the Bulldogs, Storm, Tigers and Warriors all to win by 1-12. In terms of win and margin confidence, I'm at 85% for both. In terms of the wins, I think most of these winners should be fine. I think there's a few potential question marks in there. I think the Tigers versus Titans is going to be an interesting one to see. I also think the Panthers game, maybe with some of the key misses, could be a tricky one, but I think that one should be okay for a win. Maybe the margin's a little bit less, but we'll just have to see how it goes. But that is my recap for this round. So as always, if you guys have your own predictions, please do let me know in the comment section down below. And if you enjoyed, feel free to leave a like. It does help to get the video out there to more people. Subscribe to the channel to stay up to date with more Kinetic Rugby League content. Join the Discord if you'd like to. There's an invite link in the description down below. And if you'd like to become a member, you can do by clicking the join button below this video and joining for as little as £1 per month. But that's going to be it. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.